Welcome back to the show, everybody. We got a great one lined up for you today. The Financial Conduct Authority out of the UK is laying down something, and you're going to want to know about it. Grayscale has something to say to SEC about an ETF. And I tell you, the plot thickens. And did you forget about SBI? Because you shouldn't. FDIC nears a deal with crypto Custodian. You're going to want to know who. Ripple files a motion to further their efforts. And they also filed a second motion to seal some documents. We'll get into that. And XRP, is it still on track for $4.41 in the near term? I don't know about you, but I just want to get rich. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
This is Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Subscribe for new content notifications. Now, here's Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow me on Twitter at BackupBradleyAbove, and everything that we're talking about here today, not financial advice from me or anyone else that you hear from. But you know what? Currently, right now, the market is falling like a manhole cover from the sky. Have you got the stomach to sit through it? Right? If we're going to get the thousands and thousands of percent gains that we've seen in this emerging market, this digital asset space, are you able to stomach the losses and the pullbacks? And that's what appears to be happening here. $2.061 trillion market cap, 9.62%, bleeding heavily this morning. But it's happening to the whole market, isn't it? So there's kind of comfort in that. We're all losing together this morning. Bitcoin at $46,545.70 and Ethereum now at 3,400 plus. Cardano's pulled back to 240. And XRP is back at that 109 mark, which is kind of healthy, to be honest with you. Now, we dipped below it earlier yesterday, but 109 was a great back test of support. Let's take a look at this. And we are going to hear from the one and only Coins Kid, who's going to tell us about what may be in our future. And if a $4.41 XRP is in the near term, and guess what? I think you're going to like what he's got to say here. Looking right now, we are at 109.08. And at the low end of the range, we dipped all the way to $1 almost flat. And at the upper range at 130.59. We will keep an eye on it. And again, we'll hear from him in just a few minutes, but we got some news to go over here first. If the page will load, and this is the problem with being a YouTuber, I have about 75 different tabs open right now in order to do my news. And this is Bond Crypt, who's a Hall of Famer here. And they removed XRP tip bot in the tags. We'd say when here. Twitter could soon allow users to add Bitcoin and Ethereum addresses to their profiles for tips. In July, Jack Dorsey called Bitcoin a big part of its future in convos with investors and analysts suggesting its implementation. You know, it is interesting here that we've seen such one-sided behavior out of Jack Dorsey and Twitter. And with that, my page will probably go dark in about 3, 2, 1. That's the kind of one-sided you're dealing with. But you know what? We will see what goes on from here. At any rate, Bond Crypt also tells us there's another 286.5 million XRP shoveled by Ripple, Coinbase, and other top-tier exchanges. One does have to wonder, are we positioning to relist this asset at some point and have this case settled? Now, whether that be sooner or later is another question. And I realize that for some of these platforms, they're able to sell to people as long as they're not U.S. residents. And then for other platforms, you know, they just flat out, they're not offering the asset until this is resolved with the SEC case. So looking here, Ripple transferred 45,737,504 XRP between its two internal wallets and sent 20 million XRP to Bitstamp ODL platform in Luxembourg. And two transactions, a total of 55.7 million XRP was shifted by Ripple. It's astounding to me to see all of this moving around while this case is going on. Imagine how much XRP would be flying around if this case was done and over. That's another Another thought. FCA, Financial Conduct Authority, it is the UK version of the SEC, but at the same time, or even more like FinCEN, FINRA, because, they don't have as many overlapping agencies as we do here in the United States. But nevertheless, the chair, Randall, says regulator will prevent potential harm from crypto promotions. Randall stated that no assets or any actual cash flows underpin Bitcoin and other speculative digital tokens. In reality, many of them even fail to show a scarcity value. Ooh, hello, that is not promising. But I'll say this. He goes on to say that it's really about the promotion. And he said the regulatory agencies need powers to prevent potential harm from befalling promotions of crypto assets. Now the FCC has an idea how to actually do this in the UK. If we look here, it says about the no real world cash flows underpin Bitcoin and other crypto. What he's saying here is that no assets or any actual cash flows underpin Bitcoin or speculative digital tokens in reality. Many of them even fail the scarcity value. He referred to cryptocurrencies as new speculation, assuming that their story is not going to end well, as with the story of many other new speculative assets. Boy, that is a little dark, isn't it? Yeah. My goodness. What is this? Wednesday? Yeah. Happy Wednesday. Jesus, Randall. Therefore, he added, regulators need to be granted powers to bring down the amount of damage that can be done by the promotion of crypto assets and to be able to stop the contagion of unlicensed firms from conducting unregulated activities with crypto tokens. Now, this actually pivots the article towards Binance, which have already been banned from operating legally in the UK, stating that they were unable to supervise this crypto monster properly, putting forward several requirements for Binance. Now, the exchange says it is fully compliant with these requirements in the British regulator. However, Binance has been facing regulatory issues, as we all know, in multiple countries, including several European, Asian, and African countries, and the latest country being Singapore to join the list. So listen, I said this, I think it was either yesterday or the day before, seeing Binance be targeted because it's the largest cryptocurrency platform and it being revealed in all these different countries that they are not properly licensed to operate there. Understanding what Gary Gensler's message has been since he's taken the SEC chair, I do not find any of this action to be mutually exclusive. Understanding the World Economic Forum we just covered, for which Brad Garlinghouse was a co-author of that work that just recently came out, that there is a call to action for international cooperation. Is this not what we're seeing here? All of these countries participating to put the crosshairs on the largest cryptocurrency unlicensed exchange on the planet, Binance. There's more to come on all of this. Believe me, Grayscale CEO reacts as SEC signals approval of a Bitcoin ETF, but they got more to say. This is Sonishin, who says here, and where is the part I want to get you to? Okay, right here. So according to Sonishin, he's talking about the SEC would be making a big mistake if it approves a Bitcoin-based ETF in the U.S. before granting approval for one tied to crypto itself. And he actually makes a fantastic point here, but I don't know if you want to bring it this hard to the SEC's doorstep. Obviously, they don't embarrass very easily. So he says it would be short-sighted of the SEC to allow a futures-based product into the market before a spot product. I completely agree with that. And actually, they really should be allowing both products in the market at the same time and let the investors choose what they want. And this would help bring price discovery onto these products, right? The futures products and the ETF products at the same time. So you get price discovery on those items between using those products and get the price discovery off of the asset itself. It's not a complicated thing. It's what they do in every traditional market, conventional markets now, if you especially look at metals, right? But obviously there's more to come here. And don't forget about the fact that the sleeping giant SBI is reportedly launching its country's first crypto asset fund, for which XRP is a part of it with 4 other assets. SBI, Early, Ripple, and XRP Investor, they make no shame in the fact that they know they want to use XRP, and they're about to start offering it in this crypto asset fund. This is the beautiful part about this. Even though there's a big quagmire and all of that happening in the United States with the SEC and the US, and we're about to look at some new motions that were filed to drag things out even more. But the world doesn't have to wait. And the fact that the world really is waiting in the full-scale intended use of XRP, you have to understand that this is a globally coordinated effort and that there is an agreement amongst the players of the world who have taken a position for XRP in some degree, that they must wait for some kind of a collective green light. Now, that doesn't obviously refer to the crypto asset fund. What I'm really talking about is the settlement of cross-border transactions inside the central banking system, which has not been taking advantage of that asset for those purposes as of yet. But I don't rule that out. I mean, that is the moment I'm actually waiting for while the rest of this is building steam to push us up the ladder here. Now let's continue here, because the FDIC nears a deal with crypto Custodian to manage assets of failed bank. Now this is a little bit of a sleeper, but you need to know it, because the FDIC nears a deal with Anchorage. Remember them? Yeah, San Francisco-based Anchorage to help store and sell any Bitcoin and other digital asset it obtains in the course of a bank failure. The source, who is not authorized to speak for attribution, said the company and the FDIC are in the final stages of signing a contract. Earlier this year, the Justice Department hired Anchorage to help U.S. Marshal Services, which is responsible for storing and auctioning goods seized by the FBI and DEA and other law enforcement agencies. Anchorage, which became the first crypto company to obtain a federal bank charter early this year, also provides custody services to the likes of Visa and big banks. Anchorage and the FDIC declined to comment on the matter. I bet they did. But this is enormous, having someone like Anchorage being relied on by these agencies. There's more to come here, and I tell you, you're going to want to see the second video today too, by the way. Now, this is Senator Elizabeth Warren, who is absolutely proving in my eyes that she has got massive, massive lobbying money behind her, and it comes from good old-fashioned banks who don't want this crypto or private stablecoin stuff, right? I mean, massive money behind her, boy, because she is coming up with some crazy stuff. She says Massachusetts senator said that it's worth considering banning U.S. banks from holding reserves to back private stablecoins, the very method in which you could ensure the safety and security of a private stablecoin. She wants to pull the rug out from that. Yeah. You know, Bob Dylan said it once. He said, everybody's got to serve somebody. And she ain't serving you and I. You can bet your bottom dollar on that one. Yeah, this is crazy right here. I mean, you know, you could absolutely ensure the protection of a private stablecoin by putting them in a federally chartered FDIC insured bank to guarantee the reserves or a surplus. And she wants to take that away. Everybody got to serve somebody. That's what I know. And looking right here, Ripple has filed another motion to compel the SEC to produce documents showing whether its employees were allowed to trade XRP, Bitcoin, and Ethereum. Now, a bit of semantics here, because we actually already saw a posting from the SEC that they already were like, listen, there was never any of that on the list. There was a list of stuff that SEC officials couldn't buy, and none of this stuff was on it. I don't see how this is pertinent. Well, It's pertinent, all right. We want to see if you crooked bastards were buying this while you obviously knew you were holding our neck to the ground. Yeah, that's what we want to see. And hopefully the judge has the backbone, because right now she's been running this whole show like Mrs. Rogers. You know, putting the sweater on, changing the shoes. How's everybody doing today? You know, one of these days I want her to show up and just be an asshole judge and get this thing moving, right? Let's stop playing games and let's start getting things done here. So looking at this, there's also a second motion here, which is, in fact, to seal documents. And what their point here is from Ripple's side is basically saying the exhibits filed under seal in support of Ripple's opposition letter are not judicial documents, nor are they entitled to a presumption of public access. Similarly, there is no benefit to the public in unsealing these documents at this stage of the proceedings, and no prejudice to the SEC or to the public in these documents remaining sealed. Excuse me. So there you have that. And I could certainly understand that. I really could. Shout out to James K. Filan for all his efforts and what he's doing to keep us all informed on what's happening here. The reality is as we discussed yesterday following John Deaton's video, and shout out to him, man. He's just so amazing. You know, it may take longer than BitBoy's prediction, but the reality here is that the SEC has a lot to answer to. And truthfully, Attorney Hogan has said it as well, and shout out to him. We need the judge to rule on the fair notice defense. And if Ripple is granted the ability to move forward with the fair notice defense, this is the beginning of the end. And I do believe that the SEC is going to wait and fight, kick and scratch, just like anybody would, until they find out that that defense is going to be allowed to move forward. There is every reason to believe that it will be, because the judge has entertained a lot of things along the way up until this point that suggests she may, in fact, allow Ripple to use the fair notice defense. So if that be the case will be weakening. Listen to this quick clip here from BitBoy, and shout out to him.
Its future was looking uncertain for a minute there, but as the trial progressed, the case has begun to fall apart. Now it seems that Ripple will be getting away with a small fine, and then will have full permission to continue working with banks and eventually go public. As we covered in previous videos, Ripple has existing relationships with banks around the world and a suite of products that allow banks to make international payments much more efficient than traditional finance. After years of being criticized by the crypto community for working with banks, Ripple is now fighting against the government in a case that could set a firm precedent that will likely end up shielding other crypto projects from prosecution in certain areas. This doesn't mean that we will get any kind of regulatory clarity from this case. The SEC is fighting with everything they have to make sure that doesn't happen, because if they have to define their regulatory power, it will limit how much power they actually have. For the past
Well said, BitBoy, and that's exactly right. This is a huge power grab, and when he talks about the idea of getting this case resolved so Ripple themselves can go public, that's right. And that's why I want to tell you, and I tell you all the time, link to, I'd watch out, maybe later today, around 11 a.m. Eastern Time or 8 a.m. Pacific Time, I would keep a sharp eye out for these products to be available on this site. Keep looking, because it'll come out there, and when it does, you're going to want to get a hold of it, Uphold, and everything else that's available. And I know that they will be there, so make sure you check them out. Now, before we get out of here, we're going to take a look at Coins Kid, who's going to talk to us about a $4.41, $4.50 XRP. Is it still in the near term? Let's hear him tell it.
Right now, we failed to break this level of resistance, didn't we? With any substance, we didn't get above it and start backtesting the support. Look, this is what you need to see. When you break these levels of resistance, I'll show you on a daily just here, you sort of come up, you wasn't getting above it. You're not holding it as support, and it's what you need to see when you break a key level resistance like this and start to do that. Boom, see you later, okay? You wasn't doing it, so you've had a roll. You've come back down to a key level support. As anticipated, we've had a correction, okay? It's normal. I want to reassure you. Look, you come up impulsive, corrective, impulsive, corrective, impulsive, corrective, impulsive, corrective, and we're looking at a beautiful impulsive wave up there, providing we can hold support. So this is your technical support.
How about that? How about that? I mean, he just laid it out, you know, I mean, impulsive corrective, all the way up, you follow it. And in corrective, we might be setting up for our next impulsive wave that could take us to $2 plus and $4.40 some cent, $4.50 for XRP in the very near term. And if we're looking at this stuff, I mean, we could be before the end of this year staring down a $4 plus XRP or even chasing down that $8 mark. This to me is extremely exciting because regardless of the case itself, we all know that the case is going to end. We all know that at the very longest, we're looking at a possible early next year, first quarter, maybe April, May, maybe at the latest. I don't think there's anybody on this earth that thinks that this case is going to trial. So obviously, we need to really, the big key moment or keystone moment for us to figure out is what the judge is going to rule about the fair notice defense. And we need to find out, maybe I'll ask James K. Filan today, if we can find out when, in fact, she may rule on the fair notice defense. Because I think getting that motion ruled on is going to let us know exactly how much longer we're going to go here. All right, that's going to do it for me. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe, leave a comment below. Check out all the links in the description and the comment box. They're trusted, vetted links that products and services I use each and every day. And remember, great specials on Pure VPN, 99 cents 7-day. I Trust Capital. The only thing better than buying crypto is buying tax-free crypto. And I mean, so many other things that are in there too. Ledger Nano, there's great deals on all that Ledger Nano products too, cold storage, but you got to click the link to get it. That's going to do it for me. I'll catch you on the next one.